The thought of immorality has been a fantasy people thought about for quite some time. Books, movies, and several other platforms have portrayed what life would be like if you stopped aging. Although it may seem appealing to live forever, aka never die, there are detrimental impacts an aging and expanding population have on society. Today, I am going to first give you a scientific background on how immortality can become a reality. Then I'll delve into the various effects this will have on the economy, society, and the environment, as well as studies done showing the potential effects. At the end, I will briefly discuss potential ways to prevent the severity of the effects the increasing and aging population have. First, let's talk about the basic atom. Atoms are surrounded by electrons that orbit the atoms in layers called shells. As you can see from the photo to the left, it labels the various shells on the atom. Each shell must be filled by a set number of electrons, and once a shell is filled, the electrons will jump to the next level. In the sodium atom to the right, you can see that it has a total number of 11 electrons. However, one of these electrons is by itself in the outermost shell. This is called a valence electron. An atom with the full outermost shell is considered stable, but atoms that do not have this are extremely reactive until they achieve stability. So this sodium atom is very unstable because it does not have a full outer shell. In order to do this, it must lose the valence electron. In this chlorine, it's the opposite. The chlorine has 7 valence electrons, which means it's also very reactive because it doesn't have a complete outer shell. The complete outer shell to be filled needs 8 electrons, so in order for the chlorine to be stable, it must gain 1 electron. So now you may be wondering what this has to do with aging, so now I'll connect the dots. Many atoms lose electrons through normal biological processes and create free radicals. Antioxidants help neutralize the effects that these radicals can do to your body, because not all the free radicals are harmful. However, the human body also creates oxygen-free radicals and other reactive oxygen species which have severe complications. This oxidative stress that arises from the imbalanced free radicals and antioxidants. According to the U.S. National Library of Medicine and National Institutes of Health, studies have shown that increased oxidative damage increase with age and reduced oxidative damage extends lifespan. This is because the oxidative stress on your body is what allows for aging and age-related health problems to develop. Scientists have been working on trying to eliminate these reactive oxygen species. Free radicals can be dangerous to the body and damage all major components of cells, including DNA, proteins, and cell membranes. The damage to cells caused by the oxygen-free radicals, especially the damage to DNA, plays a role in the development of cancer and other health conditions. Scientists at the National Cancer Institute are working on introducing various antioxidants to counterbalance the damage caused by the imbalance of the free radicals and antioxidants. The next phase we are going to talk about is the detrimental impacts of an aging population. According to the United Nations Economic and Social Affairs, globally, the number of persons aged 60 and above is expected to more than double by 2050 and more than triple by 2100. Now I'm going to explain the effects of an aging population from studies done in Australia by the University of New South Wales, and then studies done in India by the International Institute for Population Sciences. In Australia, they found an increasing fiscal and social security burdens. Due to the higher age dependency ratio, Social Security rates increase significantly, hindering capital accumulation and increasing per capita pension expenditures. They also discovered several negative effects on labor productivity. In general, the elderly were less trained, less educated, and less healthy than their younger counterparts. Although the health shouldn't be a factor due to the elimination of free radicals, older workers tend to be less innovative and entrepreneurial, which makes companies less likely to hire them. This was also proven to be true in Japan and Europe, as studies showed an aging population resulted in lower labor supply and a significant increase in Social Security rates. There are also many other negative impacts an aging population has on society. First is decreased participation rates in the workforce. This means the amount of people in the workforce is expected to decrease and will remain this way unless the government intervenes. The shortage of workers could lead to wages being pushed up, causing wage inflation. Secondly, increased dependency rates, as we talked about in the previous study. It is clear with an increase in the proportion of people over the age of 65, there will be a decreased proportion of people of workforce age. This means that there will be more people claiming benefits such as pensions and less people working and paying income taxes and causing an increase in dependency ratio. The forecast of dependency ratios represents predictions for dependency ratios by country. It shows that Australia, among other countries, will experience almost a double in ratio over the next 50 years, which will have severe impacts on the workforce, as they experience increases in income tax in order to support the increased proportion of the older population. When those in work may have to pay higher taxes, this could create disincentives to work and discourage firms to invest. Therefore, there could be a fall in productivity and growth. There will be more people consuming these resources and not enough people producing anything. The third thing is the increased fiscal gap. Evidently, due to an increased proportion of older people over the coming decades, the economy will suffer seriously unless the government intervenes with policies and schemes in order to diffuse the potential issues of debt and inflation. As the proportion of the population who are traditional working age, which is 15 to 64, decreases over the next 40 years, it is projected that the economic growth will slow, while spending pressures in areas such as health, age pensions, and aged care are projected to rise. The study in India focused more on the environmental impact the aging and increase in population have. It showed that natural resources are under increasing strain. As the population grows, it requires more resources to be consumed. This increase in consumption contributes to water contamination as well as an increasing air pollution and contribution to climate change. Other sources also show that in developing countries, the life expectancy would increase greatly, which means more resources are being used up and there are more mouths to feed. But in less developed countries, there wouldn't even be enough resources or money to provide for the older populations. This stretches the resources these countries have, resulting in less access to medical care, fresh water, food, and jobs. So now I'm going to tie all this back together. The elimination of these reactive oxygen species and free radicals will lead to less oxidative stress on your body. If these free radicals are eliminated through the works of antioxidants, people would be able to potentially live forever and not face as many health problems associated with aging. Then I discussed several negative effects aging has on the population. So finally, what can we do to prevent these negative effects from occurring if free radicals are eliminated? Although there's not much we as people can do, the government can provide a lot. The government would have to provide incentives and promote work done by the elderly. This would increase the workforce average age and would prevent many problems from occurring. If companies were hiring the elderly citizens would be able to produce more and not just consume. Thank you for watching my presentation, and I hope you learned or realized that although it may seem amazing to live forever and never have any health problems associated with aging, there are many detrimental effects that this can have in society and in the economy.